Good afternoon. You find us here at Broadhurst Park, Centre Sport UK TV. We are at the home of FC United of Manchester. Obviously a nice place for me to be.
Yeah.
Irony being, we have a lot in common, this ground and myself and the Centre Spot, because we are born from the disaffection of the Glazers, however we like it, and that's where it's actually come from. That's why this little rascal's red. That's why it's Old Trafford on there, because I do not want to pay a single penny towards the Glazers. And so do my brothers and sisters here of FC United Manchester. Have exactly the same feeling about the club anyhow, but they went that little bit further, set up this fantastic ground after playing at Gig Lane, Bury, which is where the United reserves used to play some time ago. And it's 100% fan owned. Third
biggest
club,
yeah, behind Heart of Midlothian and Exeter. Yeah.
But this is a beautiful ground. We've come on a great day, Mike. This is a community football club. If you can hear that in the background, we've probably got we haven't got our cameraman today. He's crying at Wembley. There's about 8 or 9 pitches over there, and it's absolutely alive, buzzing with football, and that's exactly what it is. So this place, Mike.
Well, it's a perfect. We've wanted to do this one for a while, haven't we? Because
I have.
Yeah. Well, I have as well. Yeah. I mean,
no, but this makes me feel a bit. You've had your Bolton Wanderers one. I'm feeling a bit warm to this.
Yeah, fair point. No, this is, as Sam said, it perfectly aligns itself to what Centre Spot was created for, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now I actually played on there, on Thursday, just in a 7-a-side tournament. Great setup, great pitch. Stands are great, but the banners in there are all about the love for Manchester United and as a club, and the love for FC United of Manchester. And obviously, yeah, the setup is brilliant. They've got some great 4G pitches here, which is what we want to see. We want to see kids enjoying themselves, kids loving the game.
It's alive every day of the week. This. Yeah. I mean, I drive around here a lot through work, etc. I'm coming by here, and there's something on every single day. And it's funny you say that. Yeah, there is banners for Manchester United, and the people who support and come here are essentially Manchester United fans. But the interesting thing is they've created something themselves now.
Yeah.
And even if the Glazers were to leave, which has to happen at some point, even the Roman Empire had to die. Death would be all right for that. But I don't think this will change now.
No, it won't.
It definitely has. We are from the same pot, but this now has its own identity as a club, etc. I don't know whether that you'd get sort of like a bit of duality between maybe going back to Old Trafford and stuff, but I don't see why you would now that you've got that, and I know that's weird.
No, because they've got a lot of fans, haven't they? It's now, it's just under 4,500 capacity, and they've had quite a bit of success, haven't they, during the time that they were obviously set up. Quite a few promotions, obviously one relegation recently, but they've got their own identity now.
It was always going to generate interest coming away from but I just love the strength of character and the resolve that they've done that. And I was just telling you on the way up, Mike, yes, they will take sponsorship. What club doesn't? We were just down at Oswald's Whistle, and they were telling us the same. They're working very hard on sponsorship, but you will never find anybody who can get a sponsorship on the front of an FC United shirt. That's how much the Glazers turned them off. I mean, I remember when we went into a PLC at Manchester United, and that wasn't received well, and especially when they decided to put a trademark by the badge a couple of seasons as well. So it's always been an undercurrent there. Yeah.
Right.
The PLC was not popular at the time. It worked very well for United.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the PLC was the thing that got us taken over by that set of elves.
What you now have, yeah. It's funny, obviously, the link, the reason it was set up, obviously the Glazers and Manchester United and disaffection for it. But I think even you look at the way you feel about the setup at Manchester United, people who've stayed with Manchester United as a club still go and watch them, still have that dislike for being there as well. You go and watch the club because it's Manchester United, but you almost feel a bit. There's a lot of fans who are still there thinking, I don't really particularly want to be here, but I'm still a Manchester United fan. And that then links into what you said about the fact this, no matter what happens at Old Trafford, this will still have a place. And who knows, if they get into the Football League, obviously they might have to do a bit more renovations and a few little bits, but they'll end up with a bigger capacity from over 4.5.
Yeah, it's quite a new ground, and you can actually see, ironically being, the sort of flatness and level of it is a bit like what Old Trafford was, that you were able to build off it, and I can see that as though, like, if it needed, you could build that stadium.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely got that sort of like future proofing in mind. It's not right, this is the size we'll stay and remain.
No.
And I love the fact that they've bought the pitches and they've kind of like kept it as a facility, as a full facility.
Yeah, I mean, you think it's only 9 years old, this area, isn't it? This setup.
Yeah.
And then again, you look at all the links to grassroots football. Well, not in every ground, unfortunately, because there's a lot at the elite level and even in Championship and League One. But the direct link between where we've just been with Oswald Twistle, coming here, the direct link back into putting kids on the pitch and getting people, out off their PlayStations or Xboxes and getting them into the game, getting them to love the game. People giving up their time to come down on Sunday, when really you'd want to be out in the garden. You might be going down to the supermarket, buying your certain meats for your barbecue later, or the local butchers.
Maybe something to take back and drink in the garden as well.
Maybe some nourishment as well.
Someone cooks your barbecue.
Exactly, yeah. But they're here volunteering their time to train kids and get people interested in the game again. And
as I say, it's an 8-day-a-week commitment.
Yeah.
Volunteering for football, it's very rewarding. It can sometimes be challenging, but that's more about the game itself. You love what you're doing, and you can actually see that here. And I think, interestingly enough, why it's here in Moston, for those that don't really know Manchester, I think you're about 1.5 miles away, maybe a mile from Newton Heath at Manchester United's original ground. But yeah, a bit more disappointing than that, maybe about a couple of 3 miles the other way, and you're at that place where we were with Bob.
Yeah.
Which is the Etihad. But again, taking that aside, this area of, northeast Manchester, as it kind of like swathes round, the facilities you've got here, if you want to play football.
Of course, yeah, and that's what we were talking again.
You've got cities.
We talked about Bolton FM about that, and Oswald Twistle as well, about the 120,000 games that have been called off this season, just alone, purely because of facilities being unavailable or pitches being waterlogged. And this is the kind of thing that needs to keep happening. I mean, Damien at St Mary's said that it's, £1 million? They said that it's going to cost them to build a 4G pitch. Frightening.
Well,
the naive as I am, I did not think it would be anywhere near that.
No, it definitely is. But you look at it, this is FC United that's built there. That's Oswald Twistle, which are working hard, putting their own money into it to get that pitch. I mentioned on the radio this week, Little Lever, who it's a great club. The fella who runs it down there is a great fella. They've worked really hard. It's one of the best pitches. I love playing it on there. It's a good club as well to play against. And they've built one, they're building one. But again, this money is 100% self-generated by them. It totally baffles me that not only is this the country where football was invented, and I think we've catalogued that pretty well.
I think we've mentioned it a couple of times.
It's just so very British that it doesn't get supported.
Yeah, it is. We'll give it to you. I saw a meme the other day that said the typical way that football and every sport that we create is run: set up football, teach the world how to play it, get beaten at it.
Yeah.
Set up rugby, teach everyone how to play it, get beaten at it. Cricket's the same. It's like we don't. Again, it goes back to what we said. We're not generating enough funding for this level to then create people who will go on, like the Jude Bellingham and a Harry Kane, to create that team that will dominate. And it's.
I tell you what, we do celebrate though.
Mediocrity?
No, we really celebrate how decent we are about losing.
Oh well, I'd
jolly good chap.
I don't.
No,
certainly not in the last 24 hours. I don't feel very.
Those little tracks of tears, I still see. But
it's too soon for that. It's too soon.
Listen,
congratulations to Oxford, by the way.
If you wouldn't have sent me that joke in the morning, I'd be feeling very different to you.
But anyway, we're not here for Wembley disappointments.
Yes,
it's a fantastic setup. As I say, I was here Thursday. Again, because it's still is a very new club in the grand scheme of things in terms of how old football is. They've had very few managers. I think they've had 2 permanent and 1 caretaker in the time that they've been here. So
it's a lot of the lessons learned from.
They've been in the FA Cup.
It's a lot of the lessons learned from what went wrong at United, and it's very much United's way of our history. How they're doing it. Can't be any other way because they're all United fans.
Yeah, of course, But I mean, they've been in the FA Cup second round as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they're at the TV. I remember them being on the TV. Fantastic. For that BBC. Yeah.
Well, I really hope it continues to grow, and obviously it'd be great some point in the near future can get in the actual EFL. That would be fantastic, because obviously Bromley have just done it.
Yeah.
So it's certainly a possibility for teams at this level to get to the promised land, if you will. Whether it is a very promised land at the moment, I don't know. But again, it just goes back to what we keep talking about funding. There's got to be a way, as Sharon Britton alluded to this week, it's got to be fair across the EFL, but it's also then got to drip down into the Northern Premier, the National League, the grassroots side of things.
Well, as I say, 100% fan owned.
Yeah.
Nobody can come in and start messing with this.
Yeah.
It's got to be agreed. It's got to be democratic, really.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Well, that was the what we were talking about the name, because what was it? There were three other names that they were talking about. They said FC United. The FA rejected that because it was too generic. And then what was the Manchester Central?
Yeah, which is a very different story. Billy Meredith, Manchester City, Manchester United, when he stopped playing at Manchester United. We won't go on about his checkered past. He's a very successful captain for us. There was a Manchester Central, a football team that was set up in Bellevue, just again down the road, East Manchester. It didn't actually get passed by the FA because United and City actually worked together to say it's in nobody's interest to have that football club.
Okay.
So yeah, but he having played for both clubs, he set it up, and yeah, I can't remember the last time that City and United would have joined together for that. But yeah, even at that point, Mike, mutual interest and a little bit agreed. Yeah. Manchester was big enough to have three teams. But I don't see Birmingham struggling. I don't see London struggling.
Point. Yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
Could have had Newton Heath United as well, couldn't they?
Well,
but FC United of Manchester, they said it was the people who put the money in set the club up have done the vote on. Like, yeah, it's it's perfect. It's United.
Manchester United FC just flipped
off.
Yeah.
But they are United in Manchester, not obviously Manchester United.
I was going to say, I think someone may have thrown the twist of in. It's like, well, if we're going there, at least we are in Manchester and not in Trafford. I know you'll all like to hear that, but you know, Trafford is very much a borough of Greater Manchester. But a bit of music coming on there.
I think it's just someone driving down the road, listening to the Kaiser Chiefs, as you do.
Right, I think on that note, Mike.
Yeah, so we've been if you've not been here, if you're in the area, local-ish, it's a great ground, and as we say, it epitomises everything we created the brand for. A message close to Simon's heart and mine as well. Not as much as yours, with obviously being the links to Manchester United, but yeah, we're glad we've been here. So we're going to go and watch a bit of grassroots football now.
Yes, I'll tell you what a day for it as well.
It's beautiful.
I keep saying it. Right, see you soon.